Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com. We're glad that you all could be with us. Also, tuning in to our online affiliates around the world and our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcasts. We're glad you all could be with us as well. We're excited to welcome back New York Times bestselling author Dhonielle Clayton to our program. Dhonielle is celebrating another great book that's a page-turner. I think readers of all ages are going to love this book. It's called TheMarvellers. We're going to talk to her not only about the creating of the characters, but also the amazing storyline, I think the messages for us all, but also what it's been like for her to do what she loves and to share that with all of us. If you guys are not following Dhonielle online, we'll let you guys know where to find her there. But Dhonielle, thank you so much again for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be back.
Look, I was sharing with you 3 times the charm, even though you're welcome back here as many times as you want to come this year. But you were just saying you have a lot going on this year, and definitely right. I want to talk about the taking of the breath for a moment. I mean, have you had a chance to do that, to kind of just say, wow, that all of the hard work, all of the dedication has led to this moment?
Hopefully this summer I'll be able to do that, but not yet.
Okay.
I'm still on a roll.
Yeah. But what has it been like for you, though, to think about how these characters and how these books, Dhonielle, have been able to impact readers of, like I mentioned in my introduction, of all ages?
I mean, it's super exciting. That's what you want. The dream is that you are able to create a literacy bridge from young people to older people and them enjoying your books. So that's always been the goal. I also wrote this particular book as a way to remind adult readers of their childhood selves and how they felt about reading the first time, and then also to bring new young readers into a magical space that is welcome for everyone. Yeah. So lots of goals.
Right.
Lots of goals.
And Dhonielle, you have come about this earnestly, even outside of your profession as an author. I mean, we talked about before about your love of books, being a librarian. We had the honor recently, Dhonielle, of speaking with LeVar Burton, and one of the things that he said that I thought was so powerful, talking about the power of books in his life, he said he really does believe that you are what you read. So I want to ask you, when did you realize that, the power of words in your life?
I think I just couldn't escape books. I loved them so much, and I don't think I knew the power of words until I became a librarian at my school in East Harlem, New York, because I got to see young people either fall in love with books or feel betrayed by books because they weren't featured and they didn't get a mirror into their experience, or they only saw themselves as certain things in those books. So when I tried to build readers is when I saw how powerful books are as a tool.
Wow.
Tool in a community and a tool for growth for young readers.
That leads us perfectly, I think, into the new book, TheMarvellers, and we're able to meet Ella, but also I couldn't help but think when you mentioned New York, there's this great line that Dhonielle has in TheMarvellers where she's talking about the weirdness of the world, and one of the characters says, I knew New York was weird, but I didn't think it was weird enough for the Marvellers. So I want to talk about TheMarvellers because I love this. I love these characters. And I know we talked about before, it's not so much about messages and that kind of thing. This book is entertaining. But look, there are so many messages in this book. So I want to talk to you about TheMarvellers for you. When did you first see them kind of planted in your mind?
Yes. So TheMarvellers was born in my library working with my students 8 years ago. My kids were asking me, hey, why aren't we characters in these big magic school worlds, all of these big fantasy landscapes? And I thought, that is a tough question. I couldn't find a single book that featured kids of color in magic school. And so I thought, I got to do something about that. And so I started writing TheMarvellers, and the world came to me first. I said, okay, this is going to be a global magic school where all kids are welcome and all kids are magical, and they live in the skies because they've left the non-magical world behind. And so that came to me first. Then I said, who are my troublemakers in this world that I can start shaking things up? And that's how my main character, Ella Durand, came to me, because she's not a Marveler. She's from a different magical community that is ostracized from the Marvelers world.
And there, to me, was one of the big messages of this book. And I'm going to talk around this, Dhonielle, because we're going to let our audience know how they can get it. But I love the fact that you kind of do two things, in my opinion, as a reader with Ella. One, you show her place in the world, that she has a place in the world, even when other people don't feel like she belongs. So I want to talk about that for you. What was that like for you to give her that dichotomy to deal with of having her own value, but that not always being seen by others?
Well, I feel like it is the biggest, thing that middle schoolers and upper elementary school kids grapple with, like being an outsider when you really want to be on the inside and have friends and want to be accepted. And at the heart of this series and this book, it's about community. How do we make space for others? How do we build bridges between communities? How do we right wrongs? I think that is the greatest challenge of our next generation of readers. It's really sort of, how are we going to build together? How are we going to create more space in our community so that all are welcome? And Ella she literally represents a magical group of people that has been ostracized. And she has to be both a diplomat and a bridge, but also realize that carrying that weight is really tough. She's also just a kid who wants friends, and she wants to learn about magic and different magic and teach people about hers. So I wanted to showcase a kid that has all of that weight on their shoulders, because I think so many of our young people have that weight on their shoulders when they're going to school.
Yeah, I think that is one of the big things. There's another great line in the book that I think young people will definitely take away from this, Dhonielle. When one of the characters says, I learned hard lessons about telling people too many things. It gives them ammunition to turn on you. And I think, what you've done in this book, too, is to show, for one, not everyone will love and respect you, that sometimes you have to be able to walk your own path, and that's okay. So I want to talk about the Ella and Dhonielle connection, because you are doing things, Dhonielle, that people have talked about, have dreamed about, have wanted, and you are living that life. What has that been like for you to know that you're in uncharted territory, that you are doing things that other people wish they could do? How have you been able to navigate that for yourself?
I mean, it's both exciting, but it's also nerve-wracking, right? Uncharted waters means there are sharks in the waters. You don't know what's there. You can't see down to the bottom of the ground, but you have to have faith that what you're doing is going to have impact. And so I think Ella believes that her being at the school will help her entire community find acceptance, and so she keeps that faith even during adversity. And I just keep going because I believe that I am in service of young people and of children, and so if I can keep creating books that make them feel like they are welcome, that they are marvelous, that they are unique, and that uniqueness is what makes them special and is their superpower, then that is most important to me, and that's what keeps me going as I'm charting through these untested waters and trying to, forge new paths. Yeah. So I try to hold on tight to that.
Dhonielle, do you find yourself inspired by the characters, or do you try to give your own courage and power to the characters?
I'm inspired by the characters. I mean, I build the characters off of real people, people that I know. But I also try to write aspirational characters. I was not a kid like Ella. I was more of a kid like Bridget, the side character, who was like, I hate it all. I don't want to be here. I'm nervous. I just want to be left alone. I was that kid. I just wanted to be left alone with my book. And so I wasn't the best ambassador. So I'm also writing kids as they are and also giving them aspirations, being like, how can I be more like Ella? How can I, make sure that I'm making space and being friends and being open? Because I think modeling that is important too.
Right. Ella had to learn how to be an unwitting, role model in many ways, Dhonielle. Has that been an easy moniker for you to embrace, being a role model?
It's hard because I think being a role model sounds like a lot of pressure, but instead, if I can show young people anything, is that I am incredibly human, right? I get scared, I get nervous, I don't always know what I'm doing, but you know what I mean? I always try my best. And I have failures too. They're a sign of effort. And I think the more human I can be and showcase that, like, you know, I am just like them, the better. Because I think the word role model means you have to be perfect. And the one thing I want students to know and young readers to know is that I am so far from perfect. I make a mess. I don't always know what I'm doing. I feel nervous. I feel anxious. I am just like them. I am just a little bit older. And so I'm hoping it makes them feel more settled in their skin to know that I am just like them.
Well, Dhonielle, I have so much respect for you. I love your work, and I love your passion. The only thing about Dhonielle that I probably would take issue about is that she says she likes magic more than pizza. I don't know anything I love more than pizza, but
you can judge me. You can judge me for that.
But other than that, you're cool with me, though.
I appreciate it.
Again, everyone, New York Times bestselling author Dhonielle Clayton celebrating her newest page-turner, TheMarvellers. It's out. Of course, through our friends at Amazon.com or through your favorite local bookstore. If they don't have it, I know they'd be more than happy to order it for you. Dhonielle, it is always a pleasure speaking with you. How can our audience stay connected with you?
Absolutely. If you can find me on all social media platforms at Brown Bookworm, or you can go to TheMarvellersSeries.com and find out more.
All right, Dhonielle, congratulations again. Looking forward to our next chat together.
Me too. Thank you so much.
More than welcome. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.